Oh, dice event. Dice event. Alright, spring dice. This is very cool. I actually like this event. Look at that. I already got the 100 diamonds. So hopefully we'll continue to get more diamonds and cool stuffs along the way. There's just plenty of awesome gifts right here. Make sure you guys do it 3 times a day, and you can't stack all 3 and just do it one go. It has to be in the interval of 1 hour. So do 1 during morning, 1 during the evening, and 1 at night. Alright, so let's talk about new companions, Kurena Twini, Erzbert. Hey, what is up guys? Guitar here, welcome back to another Brave 9 video. Just gotta start my intro all the same. Okay, so Yuri is getting her companion, finally. Freesia getting the companion as well. And we have Xenon. Alright, so let's have a look at what will improve on their end. Alright, so skills, stats, every single thing we need to know, and what's the usable skill level, and what should you be aiming for, etc. Okay, so here's the thing. Yuri, if you look at the max stats, she has decent HP. That's actually pretty high. 4,000 HP? That is pretty high. That is pretty high. Alright, so 1.7k attack. Okay, very good as well. We have crit rate 40%, crit damage 75%, edgy 30%. Okay, so that edgy, man, that edgy. So she has pretty decent crit rate. I do think that she can get up to 100% with 1 Rafitia buff if your Rafitia is plus 15. Maybe with a bit of substat of the runes. But overall, if you are building her, most likely you either go for Assault or Rage runes. So for that, we'll have to wait and see. Let's cover her skills first. So what is her skills all about? At +0, she gets a nullifier, which is very good. This is the better form of nullifier. There are 2 forms of nullifier. Alright, so one is after normal attack, one is before normal attack. Hers is before. So it's very cool. So this makes sense to counter certain units like Rafitia, for example. So Rafitia, if you use something like, who else has nullifier? Let me see. Okay, for example, Frederica. She has nullifier skill as well on her first skill, but this is after normal attack. So the removal is after normal attack. So Rafitia has reflective counter. So when you hit someone who is buffed with Rafi's buff, Frederica will die first. Even though she removes all the buffs that are removable, including Rafitia's buff, she will die in the process, alright, because she hits the enemy, and then the application of removal will be applied afterwards, after normal attack. Whereas for Yuri's one, it's before normal attack, so keep that in mind. That is the better, there are just 2 versions and not all nullifier works the same. Hers is the better one. Okay, so this particular skill, stats enhancement after normal attack. Keep that in mind, it's after normal attack. So she needs to hit the enemy first to be getting the crit rate plus 20% alongside with agility plus 25. That is pretty high edgy. Coupled with she already have 40%, 30% edgy. Okay, 30% edgy, and she will have 25% edgy. That is a lot of edgy boost. Okay, and then of course you have this ultimate strike skill, very cool. And you have this particular skill, and if you awaken her, she's gonna be pretty decent. Alright, does not receive any damage. It applies before battle. It's literally a death guard. I wonder why they call it something else, but it's literally a death guard. It's one time you can receive any form of damage. Alright, so for one time. Alright, so +1, more edgy 35%, 45%, 65% edgy. Yo, that's crazy, man. 30% crit rate, okay. 40% crit rate, +6. Okay, now you have healing when enemy dies, makes sense. 50% crit rate. Oh, okay, she's gonna have 100% crit rate for sure. 60%. +9 is where you get the crit damage. So now you get some damage, right? So keep in mind that edgy and crit rate, they don't really do anything outside. They don't increase your damage. Like crit rate, sure, if you have 100%, you'll be able to crit, but that's about it, right? So you need crit damage to deal more damage, and you only get that at +9. That's a lot of investment to make her slightly stronger. So +10, you have this particular skill which I like, besides the healing. So now if enemy dies in the process, her attack will be boosted by 75%, and it's going to last for 18 turns, which is very cool. So this complements with her skill because she has this sort of tile range, insane 5 tile range. Obviously, if you put her middle, she's going to have that, and yeah, that means that she will have plenty of chance in terms of hitting an enemy and killing them. So higher chance for her to activate this skill. It complements each other, her range and this particular skill. and of course 150% at plus 11. So plus 12, this is where I think it's going to make her even crazier. Alright, so plus 12, she gets this hunting instinct where she will not receive any damage for 2 times. Alright, as opposed to 1 time before, now it's 2 times. So meaning that she can take 2 hits from anyone. It can be a Nartus, it can be Angelica, it can be anyone, alright? So it's a very good skill for PvP. And in case you guys are wondering, oh, can't we use this for Gorgona? Gorgona? No, you can't, unfortunately. Alright, it's listed right here. Can't be used in World Boss. So don't even think about using it in any of the World Boss, it will not work. So this is specifically a PvP skill. And plus 13, 200%. Okay, now it makes sense. 200% makes more sense. 100%, come on. All the while it's just 100%. Holy. I guess you need to plus 13 her if you can. She's gonna be really strong. Plus 14, she gets more crit damage. So that is a lot of damage. Double the amount of crit damage as opposed to 50 now is 100%. That's gonna help a ton. And of course at plus 50, you get the ability to modify her tile range, her skill range. Okay, so this is what makes Yuri probably one of the more unique warriors in the warrior meta right now. So she's one of the few only units that can switch the tile range. So how do you switch it? So if you have plus 15, you want to change to plus 14, just unequip one of the soldier. Preferably you remove the armor one because that doesn't affect your attack. I believe that's just affecting your HP and she won't need that compared to the other two. So I would say just remove that one. And then yeah, you get this range again. So it's very flexible if you are using Yuri for Guild Wars, right? The flexibility can come in really, really handy. Alright, I feel like without this skill, without this plus 15, Yuri is just like, she's not bad, it's just that all skills that she has is already kind of similar with all the units in the meta right now. So for example, Nullifier, we have Vals, which can do the same thing. Obviously, tile range is different. So we have this skill, you know, Taylor has this, Gunter has this, Corette has this. So it doesn't make her any particular unit, but she's gonna be more similar to Taylor because of the hitting front as opposed to skip. And like this skill is already present in a lot of units. Adin has something similar. It takes more time to charge up. So this is probably one of the better skills as well. Besides her range, she can take 2 sources of damage, which is very interesting. So you will be able to use her to kind of tank as well. I feel like that's going to be good in Guild Wars. So overall, I feel like Yuri is not a unit to be underestimated for sure. She's not going to help you with Grand Hildir Albion. Alright, in fact, I don't think she can kill Grand even without Albion unless you like triple buff her or something. Most of the time she's going to struggle with Grand even. So if you have a difficulty dealing with Grand, she's not going to be that solution for you, unfortunately. Wait for Vendana, that's going to be a much better pool. Like, only if you struggle with Grand specifically. But if you want to use her specifically, you know, to deal damage to a lot of units, or just nullify and things of whatnot, she's gonna be very good. Because here's the thing, this skill Nullifier is very good against any other taunters on the meta right now. Alright, it's gonna be good against Benshina, gonna be good against Glacier because it removes their taunt, right? It removes the taunt. But if she were to hit Gran with this skill, this will be reflected upon her because Gran has this skill right here called the reflection count, debuff reflection. Alright, it's going to reflect the nullifier back onto Yuri. So what happens is Yuri is going to get nullified instead. So yeah, that's something that you have to keep in mind. Like imagine you went and triple buff your Yuri and stuff, and then you're like, alright, I'm going to hit that Gran, I'm going to triple buff it. It probably will not work because this skill will be reflected back onto her and all her buffs will be removed immediately. So she's not a good Gran counter. In fact, Gran is a very good counter to her. Like that nullifier is going to backfire on her so much. Other than that, she's alright, she's solid. I mean, the good thing is that she has this skill right here, which cannot be removed. Alright, can't be removed with removal skill type, which is good. Alright, you have all of these stats. How about this particular skill right here? This one can be stacked, but this one can be removed because it stands enhancement. Yep, this one can be removed. If it can't, it will be mentioned right there. So yeah, pick your poison. If you want to go for Yuri, make sure that you really need her. and that you really are able to climb the arena ladder with her. Alright, if even plus 12 you might be lacking in the damage occasionally. Plus 13 gives so much more, 200% as opposed to 100%, and plus 14 you get 50% extra crit damage. That's going to be so beneficial. Like, that's going to be really beneficial. I most likely will be skipping her, but yep, still thinking about it. So let's go and check out Freesia for the time being. Okay, so next up we're going to talk about Freesia and have a look at what makes her good right now. Alright, so before this we know that Yuri and Freesia were both very bad. Alright, so Yuri is like one of the worst warriors, and now she's actually competing in the meta right now. Same goes for Freesia. Let's have a look what she is all about. So first things first, she has very high stats. Oh my god, 2.9k. That's almost 3k attack. For a magician to have such a high stat in attack, that's just incredible. Alright, so decent HP, crit rate 20%, crit damage is 75%. So most of the time, for her, I think you will want crit damage. Okay, so what is her skills all about? So she is a skip. Remember that she's a skip, so she needs 2 rounds. So ideally, it's pretty good. Unlike Livia, which hits front, so she is a skip. So means that she cannot be blocked, or will be harder to block because skip tile. Okay, so we're gonna have a look. Her skills are a bit more complex. So permanent sacrifice activates reincarnation effect when enemy's graves is created. So similar to Benshina, when there are graves on the enemy side, not on ally side, enemy side, it activates reincarnation. Alright, so on allies, it activates blessing effect. So 2 separate effects. So this is something that cannot be used on world boss, unfortunately. So what does reincarnation does? So reincarnation is the one on the enemy side. So resurrects with fixed quantity of HP when receive damage to death. So meaning that Freesia will resurrect and give her 100% HP. Makes sense. Okay, it says here can't receive resurrection skill type. So does that mean that she cannot receive Belial's buffs? I guess it makes sense. Okay, and then we have this thing, Death Guard. So does not receive any damage after resurrection. So Death Guard expires after receiving enemy's normal attack for a certain number of times, and in this case 1 turn. Okay, so it lasts for 1 turn, makes sense. And then Blessing. So when an ally's grave is created, what she does is she gets all stats except HP will be boosted on her. So she's gonna get incredible amount of stats, 30% on everything except for HP. So she's gonna have 30% more attack, 30% more defense, 30% more crit damage, crit rate, etc. It's just so good. Alright, secondary skill. This is basically Furious Strike. Is what she does as her main caster ability, the skill that affects her damage. Alright, enemy's current HP times 45% additional damage. Now, current HP can be a bit finicky, similar to Azimuth, so we're gonna dive into how it looks like later on. Alright, 45% is pretty good. Okay, so this skill is called Permanent Samsara, prohibits mercenaries from receiving resurrection skill type except for reincarnation effect. This is a very complicated skill. So what it means in general is Freesia cannot receive resurrection skill. Alright, so any type except for reincarnation effect. So it just means that Freesia will reapply all the permanent sacrifice, permanent samsara, and permanent stats weakening immunity when she is resurrected. I guess it makes sense. So she's gonna have this again once resurrected. She's gonna have permanent sacrifice again when she resurrected. I guess it makes sense. You want her to still retain her skills, not just die and lose all her abilities. Okay, so what she gets at +1 onwards is just the increase of the damage skill, 50% to 55. Okay, amount of damage heal, makes sense. So +4, it's heal even more, heal even more. Alright, so +6, boost all stats by 65%. Now it gets crazy. Alright, 65%. +9, you get 100% stats. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of stats. Okay, so +10 onwards, you're gonna get even more damage. Current HP times 70%, 85%. So +11, you will be getting... Okay, now this gets interesting. At +11, resurrects with fixed quantity of HP. Okay, when receive damage to death, and also resurrects in casting ready status when receive damage to death. Oh, that is very cool. So it means that if she dies, when she resurrects, she will be ready to cast straight away. So when her turn comes, she will just apply the attack. She won't need to wait 1 whole round just to charge up again, just like most other magicians. So So in a way, she's like a Nartus. It's much more conditional. Of course, she needs to die and resurrect for it to have that, for her to have that. But yeah, it actually makes sense from plus 12 onwards. I guess this is going to be the huge stopping point for her. Plus 12. Ideally, if you are building her, you want to be stopping at plus 12. Alright, at plus 13, so now we have 105%. Now we are talking current HP times 105%. So this will ensure that the enemy will die most of the time. Alright, if they have low defense, that is. So this skill, okay, so if you guys are new to the game or you're not familiar with how current HP or max HP works, this skill scales off crit damage. The more crit damage you have on Freesia, the more this kind of skill is going to do, and also the more defense on the enemy that the enemy has, the more mitigation they're going to have as well. So it's going to reduce the damage of this kind of skills significantly. So if enemy has high defense or close to 100%, this kind of skill will be mitigated completely. It's just like Asmod's skill actually. Alright, 125% at plus 14, makes sense. So plus 15. Oh, so at plus 15, it modifies it to Super Furious Strike and ignores enemies' incoming damage reduction and deals additional damage. Okay, so this time it completely ignores damage reduction. Any form of barrier like those Benshina or Grand, like those of them who have that, and deals additional damage. That is insane. Alright, it does not ignore grace though, so affected by damage reduction effect caused by partial damage, which is grace, and of course defense will still reduce it significantly. Can't be used in world boss. I mean, this skill is okay, it's alright. I'm not sure. I am actually not sure about her. I feel like she's alright. They did make her somewhat much more usable. But then again, for players who already have something like a Livia, like if you have invested in a Velfern even, is there a point in going for her? Like, yes, this is very cool. This is very cool, right? Because you're getting this kind of skill, but who is she targeted towards? Like, who is she trying to target? If her job with those skip tiles is just to get rid of warriors, she won't get rid of much, because a lot of meta warriors right now, like Adin, Angelica, and then we have Yuri, and then Dalvi is still around, so it's like 100% defense everywhere. Yes, she will get rid of those who are not, but then again, those units you can use anyone to get rid of anyways. So yeah, she's in a tough spot, and in most cases, if you're fighting against something like a Glacia or Lucius, it just doesn't matter because you're just gonna get stuck at them. So at the end of the day, Livia, if you have Livia, like, she's gonna pretty much do it already without having as much investment. So you gotta weigh in that. Obviously, if you do not have Livia, she is definitely a good option, and I'm not saying that she's like useless at all. There's definitely going to be a situation where she could be used in Guild Wars and Underground Arena. Alright, skip tile, very good. It's a very good. In fact, I would say she might actually be stronger in Underground Arena than the regular arena, because she's a skip tile hitter. So that means that she will be able to hit quite a lot of units. Heejin was quite strong back then. In the underground, I see quite a lot of players run him. So, and Freesia has a similar tile range, so I can see that being a thing. Okay, so let's have a look at the last unit that will have the plus 15, and this is a 4-star, so it doesn't excite as many players. I get it. So this is none other than Xenon. Where's Xenon? Right here. Xenon. Okay, so again, we gotta have a look at the stats. So decent stats right there. Decent stats. 1.2k attack, 5.2k HP. Decent defense, crit rate, crit damage, and edgy. So what is Xenon all about right now? So previously, he's all about healing and lifesteal and stuff. So I hope that the core of the strategy still remains the same. Okay, amount damage by normal attack times 150% instant healing. So more damage he deals, more HP he will heal. Deals fixed bleeding damage every turn. Alright, deals triple damage to defenders. Fixed bleeding damage, oof, okay, now that is complicated. It sucks, but it's also good. Alright, so what DOT, the thing about DOT is they are so good if they can crit. So DOT can crit. Most of the time, if you use Christina before, you know that her ticks every single turn. Like if she crits in that bleeding damage or whatever damage, those units that are being affected by the DOT usually will die. But being fixed damage, that means that it's limited. You can't crit anymore with that DOT. So you're mitigating, obviously you're taking away the sources of damage for the potential damage that it can deal overall, but also now it can go through 100% defense. So trade-off, pros and cons right there. So Vein Rupture, DOT 14 turns. Okay, max HP every turn. Okay, not bad. So they will die eventually. That is interesting. That is interesting. Unless Freesia is going to purify or something. So removes already applied healing skill type. Healing Nullifier. Wow. That's the first. That's the first. Healing Nullifier. I don't think we have had this skill before. And of course, Masochism. So this is something that's activated when you awaken him. So at +1 and +2, he just gets more healing when he hits the enemy. At +3, this is when you get the healing Nullifier. +4, 14 turns, 15% now. Okay, 15%, and then we go to 20% at +5. At +6, okay, make it unable to receive healing. That's cool, that's cool, okay. Very cool. +7, 250, 300%. Okay, this time it gets interesting. He gets this as well. Boost attack when target with Vein Rupture effect die. And then at +15, so 60% reduction in incoming damage. Okay. You know what I think? I'll be honest with you guys. I think he sucks. That's what I think. Alright, I think he sucks. Alright, here's my point of view. Alright, so I think he's quite bad because I don't want to say that he's completely trash like Maxwell or something. Alright, so no offense to Maxwell lovers and Xenon lovers out there. If you like this guy, I understand that. Alright, so when I first played the game, Xenon was one of the more popular units. But his +15 is really bad right now in the meta. Why go through trying to DOT an enemy in Novice Arena? Alright, so deals fixed damage bleeding every turn when you can one-shot them with Aizen. So Aizen has this skill that ignores enemy's damage reduction effect caused by defense. Alright, if enemy has 100% defense, so they will die from this skill right here. So you just need to buff Aizen. So why you want to go through the trouble of using Xenon to slowly torture the enemy to death? Like, what are you trying to achieve, right? Yes, it's a DOT, it slowly kills them, right? It's fixed damage, I understand, it goes through 100% defense, but the problem is, it takes time, and when it takes time, they might be able to move and act and do something before they die. So ideally in Novice Arena, when you go in, you want to get rid of the enemy, as much of them as you can, alright? If it's a supporter, let's say you hit a Serendia, for example, right? You want her to die immediately. With Aizen kills her straight. But with Xenon, you're going to DOT her. Yeah, she's going to take 3 turns to die, but then she has 3 turns to act and purify everything. So it's like, what's the point? What's the point, right? I feel like he has no role right now. Xenon has no role currently in the Novice. We have all good units like Cry can easily one-shot him. Okay, this one is good. At first glance, if you think, oh, 60% damage reduction, wow. But come on, just give him 100% defense, like, or at least a way to achieve 100% defense. Because if Iris can have it, so why not Xenon, right? Iris can have 100% defense. If the enemy dies, she gets the 65% defense boost. And she is also DOT immune. Iris is DOT immune. This is permanent. So yeah, one of the most meta units in the Novice right now literally counters Xenon. Like, I was hoping that Xenon would counter her, not the other way around. So is there even a point to build Xenon right now? Like, you might as well just build Iris, right? You might as well just build Iris and she's going to perform, I feel like she's going to perform better. She has much more range, much more skill, Tau, much more everything, and Xenon does not have anything to prevent himself from getting charmed. Xenon is not immune to anything. Like, that's the problem here. He's not immune at all. He's vulnerable to DOT. He's vulnerable to stats weakening, alright? So if he hits Bellacier, he's gonna receive the stigma or whatever. He's vulnerable to charm. Iris hits her, she's gonna die. Mia is there. So I don't see the point of, if you can't go through someone with 100% defense, the first thing in your mind is, okay, let's try to do a fixed damage. All right, that's the solution that you want to come up with. It's not like, oh, let's just do a fixed DOT to this guy and watch him slowly die. Like, that's not how you play the game. I mean, like, they have to change this, or they have to make this useful in the future. Hopefully this will see some sort of use in the Evil Castle in the future, but for the time being, it just does not make sense to me. Again, it's not just about me, so let me know what you guys think as well. Alright guys, so this is a long video analysis, deep analysis on all 3 units. Are you guys going to be pulling on Yuri, Freesia, or Xenon? Alright, so let me know your thoughts of any of them in the comments below. Okay, so as always, if you guys are new here, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.